This is gonna be so weird to start, but I feel like a loser. Welcome back to After Hour Happy Hour. I am your chaotic and very chaotic, not so much cathartic co-host or main host for today, Jamila. That felt so weird to do, but for today's episode, it's a solo one, and I'm the first one to do it. So for 2022 goals, we wanted to explore new things and find new ways to do more videos, to do more podcast episodes, and we thought we would just do some solo content, some dual content, so it's not always us three. As much as, you guys might love to watch all three of us together, we're very different people, so the type of content you can expect from us is kind of different. With that being said, all three of us have now launched our YouTube channel, our personal YouTube channels, and if you're interested in getting to know our lives a little bit more, you can definitely check us out. All of our YouTube channels will be listed in the description. You could go find it, and let me tell you, all three of us have very distinct styles, even though all three of us are doing vlogs right now, but we're very different in styles. And I think you can't even tell throughout our podcast, our personalities are just different, but we mesh very well together. So that's kind of the first thing on top of my mind. This is actually my second time filming this solo episode. I filmed a 45-minute one the other day, but I was honestly really nervous for it. And going into it, I thought I would do really well, or I had a lot of confidence going into it, but it ended up being I was actually really, really nervous. And not gonna lie, I'm still nervous right now, but I definitely feel a little bit better. So if you guys are listening, please do feel free to like or even comment so I don't feel as shy about it. Not shy, but just like not as unconfident about it. I don't know. Like, I just really thought I would be fine because I could talk a lot. But then when I actually went out to filming, I was like, wait, this is actually kind of hard because I don't know. I can't really find a reason. I think it's just doing something new that I was not familiar with is always going to be hard, which is actually what I'm going to talk about today, getting out of my comfort zone. I don't have a specific topic that I want to talk about today. Is gonna be kind of maybe a little bit all over the place. It's gonna be a glimpse into my mind, into my thoughts. And if you particularly like Sharon or Vicky more, like listening to them, or you feel that you relate to them more, sorry, it's just me today. You're stuck with me. Hopefully you do stick through with the episode and you find me relatable as well, because I'm just a very, very average human being with a lot of thoughts in her head that I wish they would just stop going, honestly. And if you've been following our podcast for a while, you know that 2021 was not a great year for me at all. And as much as I'm like, oh, so glad to discover about myself, to talk about my emotions, but honestly, I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired of having so many thoughts running through my head. I just feel so burdened by thoughts almost to a point. And when I say thoughts, it's not like I don't want to think about things. It's just negative thoughts. I feel like before I've never really had so many thoughts just hinder me from doing things. Okay, sorry. Let me backtrack a little bit actually. So I think officially on which is shortened for After Hour Happy Hour, I haven't really told you guys what I'm doing, where I'm going, kind of what is up with my life, because there has been a lot of major changes. But if you guys do follow my personal Instagram and my YouTube channel, which is Jamila K, JAMILA KAY, then you guys know that I'm actually currently in Korea. And if you guys if you guys are watching the video version of this, you guys can see that I am in a very familiar place, which is Vicky's apartment. So yes, long story short, I quit my job in December on December 31st, and I went to Seattle for a little bit to visit Sharon, and I flew from Seattle to Korea, and I am going to be staying here until the end of March. And basically, the reason why I quit my job is that I realized, I really enjoy doing content, and I really want to pursue this full time and see where it takes me. So from now until July/August, I'm going to be pursuing content full time, giving it 100%, and I'm starting off this content journey here in Korea. So yes, we'll be expecting to see more of me and Vicky together, and you guys can check out my vlog. You guys can follow along for my content journey. I would really appreciate it if you guys could give my vlogs a watch. Wow, I actually feel so much better about doing this solo episode now. Definitely that first one was a little kind of like, old rusty metal kind of, but now I feel a lot more comfortable. And as I was saying before I did this whole backtrack thing, I just thought of what I'm gonna talk about today, which is getting out of my comfort zone. And today, actually, earlier, I had a call with Sharon and I didn't expect to cry at all, but tears just came out. And I just know it's always gonna be better after I talk to her, because she and Vicky are just the two people that I confide in basically everything, which I'm very thankful that I have some people to be able to do that with. Because if I didn't, I don't know how I'll survive, honestly. Literally without them, quarantine would have stuck. Like, I just don't know where I would be mentally right now. I think it'd just be so bad. So I kind of cried because I didn't realize that this is my first time really out of my comfort zone. And the reason why I say that is because I always kind of thought I got out of my comfort zone when I studied abroad in Beijing in 2019. Because when I got there, my Mandarin wasn't very fluent, and it did take me a little bit of time to really adjust to the environment and really get the language down. So with that, I thought that, I could adjust very quickly in a new environment, and I'm a very adaptable person, not just in a new country, but just in situations. And coming out of quarantine, and I mean, I've only been out of quarantine, I think a week. No, I got out on Wednesday. So it's only really been 4 days since I've been out of quarantine, which isn't obviously a lot of time. But I just had this expectation of myself that I will adjust very quickly, just like I did when I was studying abroad in Beijing, and is not the case. And that really surprised me, because I thought I wouldn't be as shy, perhaps, to speak a language that I wasn't familiar with, or I thought I'll be more comfortable with, or I thought I'd be more comfortable with being in a new place, even though I'm not familiar with the language. That was not the case. And I've been more reliant on Vicky. And even though I know how to say some things, I definitely feel more nervous to say it. And I can't quite pinpoint if it's because I'm out of my comfort zone and I'm actually not as adaptable as I thought, or if it's because I kind of lost my confidence. And I feel like, sorry, I'm trying to get my thoughts together, but I'm also trying to think of what I talked to Sharon about, and then what she told me. So just my brain just going and going right now. But I've lost a lot of confidence throughout quarantine, and it's nothing about social confidence. I don't have social anxiety at all. I actually went on Bumble, and I've talked to a lot of people on Bumble, and I'm planning to meet up with them this week, which I actually think will make my life easier or better, because I have someone to hang out with. I'm not home all the time. So it's not social anxiety, or it's not confidence in communicating with people or meeting up with new people. I think it's just my confidence overall. I'm not completely sure why. Maybe it's the fact that it's the first time I'm doing something so out of my comfort zone. I'm doing things that I'm not completely sure of. For example, content. It's not like I quit with 50K subscribers. It's not like I can say, content is going great for me right now, and I for sure will continue to grow. No, I have 200 subscribers. I have no idea where it's going to take me, but I just have confidence, or not confidence, but I just feel it in my heart that I love this so much, and I'm sure people who sees my vlogs could hopefully tell that I do enjoy vlogging, and I want to share that part with the world. And my ultimate goal for making content is I want to be a source of not even a source, that's very heavy, just provide some sort of happiness to their day. Because I know sometimes when I'm really down and I watch, for example, Going 17 stuff or someone's vlogs, like for Remy, who has really high energy, really happy energy, it just makes my day feel better. And it's just kind of 30 minutes that really lifts my day up. And that's what I want to be for someone else. That's kind of my goal in content, to be maybe that distraction or that temporary source of happiness for them. Sorry, this content is going everywhere. What was I even saying? So I was saying that it's not like I am fully confident that content will work out for me. So I think this is the first part where I lost my confidence a little bit. I'm confident that the more I do it, the better I'll get at it, and it'll go somewhere. But obviously right now I'm still such a noob. It's still such a beginning. I'm not confident in everything I put out, because I'm still so new. And the second thing is I lost a lot of body confidence. I don't think I've ever openly talked about this throughout quarantine, because I was really low and I just kind of really let myself go, and I never fully lost the weight that I've put on from study abroad. So with that on top of quarantine weight gain, it just really took a toll on my body confidence once my emotions started to get better. Because once I wasn't so clouded and consumed by my emotions, when I had more energy to care about things such as my body aesthetic, then I realized, wow, I am so far away from where I want to be. Especially because in the beginning of quarantine, I was actually really good. Like 2020, I was on top of my gym game, like so good. And the 2021, I just completely fell off. I just feel like in these 2 years, like quote unquote, I had time to get my shit together and I didn't. And I know like in the moment it's really hard to control your emotions, but it's just like once I kind of got myself out of it and start to care about more things, I was like, holy crap, I'm so far away from my goals. And that just kind of really took a toll on my brain, because I feel like for the most part, I've been pretty confident in myself through most of my life. Like I never really struggle with body confidence, which is a really good thing. Like I feel very blessed that I haven't struggled with it. And this is not coming from someone who had like quote unquote like fit or toned body to begin with. I always been chubby in my life. I've been to a doctor's appointment where they always told me I was overweight. And well, I've never said that on camera. This is so weird. Like, I feel like this is the most raw I've been about my body confidence on camera, but it also feels kind of good. And I hope someone could relate to it. So yeah, all my life, I went to doctors. They always told me that I was overweight. And all my life, I know I was bigger than my friends. Like most of my friends, even now, are more or less on the skinny side or on the fit side. So I've always been on the heavier side. But with that, it never really affected me a lot. I mean, some days I'm like, oh, I wish I was, more fit, things like that. And I'll work towards that. But it never bothered me to a point where it would lead me to have perhaps like eating disorders or anything that put my life out of the ordinary. And again, I'm very, very happy for that. So it's really only recently, like in these like a year and a half, that I start to develop more of a negative perception of my body, negative thoughts about like body, negative thoughts, relationship with food. Not that it's like really bad or anything, that is a major problem, but definitely not as good as before. So I lost my body confidence and then kind of like not as confident in quote unquote professional, because I quit my corporate job and now I'm pursuing something completely new. So I think just the two things that really, I feel like, added to my confidence, I kind of am in a not so good place with it. So overall, it just kind of brought me down and kind of impacted me to feel like myself when I am in a less familiar situation or environment. And again, I'm sorry if this podcast just does not make sense, because I'm not a person that's very good at verbally expressing myself in complete words or thoughts. If you guys could see from the podcast, Vicky and Sharon's always kind of complete my thoughts. I don't know, like I think this is just a part of the process of discovering myself, because I just never knew about these things before. So for me to want to think it and then to be able to verbalize it, verbally express it to someone is even harder. So this is all a learning process. And I realized I really don't like processes. I know it's like to trust the process, but I really don't like the process. I think it just comes from the fact that I'm an impatient person. I like results. I'm a very results driven person. So when the process, it doesn't technically reach my expectations along the way, then I don't particularly enjoy it, which is kind of bad, Obviously, I look back on things, I'm like, oh, I'm so glad like this happened. Like it makes the results a lot more satisfying, but it's just not something I particularly enjoy. And this is just something I have to learn. I have to learn how to deal with the process. I can't just let these things, get to me. I've mentioned one time in my vlog that it's just very easy for me to be clouded by my emotions and almost let emotions run my mind. And I'm sorry, I'm looking at myself from the viewfinder right now. I don't think I put my hair down in a podcast in a while. And I actually feel like I've been so hard on myself with how I look. Because even with the hair, I was thinking, I hate my hair. I feel like my hair just ruins my entire look. I just realized I became so much harder on myself about these things that it just put me even in a worse place. And all of this is completely new to me. Like me with my emotions. I'm not saying I didn't have emotions before, but before I didn't try to find the root cause of it. I would just let it go. And now it's more like learning how to overcome these emotions, learning how to deal with these negative emotions and turn them into positive, or not let it affect me. I feel like these negative emotions, it's whenever I have them, I just feel like I'm not myself. I'm not my 100% self. And I need to get rid of all these negative emotions to be my 100%. But I think I just need to learn that how to be 100% even with these emotions, because these emotions are who I am. Not everyone is gonna be happy or joyful all the time. How do I not let these emotions take away the happiness? Does that make sense? I really hope that makes sense. But basically, I'm trying to say that whenever I'm feeling down or I'm struggling to figure out why I'm down, I'm like, oh, I'm not my 100% self. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. But I just need to learn that even with these emotions, I could still be my 100%. Or I've never bothered or cared to find a deeper meaning to my emotions. I've always just let it happen and let it go and think that that's the end of it until I couldn't just quote unquote get over it and live life as it is, because it just affected me so much. This is what I have going on moving forward. I'll be busy learning about my emotions. And I'm honestly so freaking tired, not gonna lie. I don't know how Sharon and Vicky does this, because they're more or less very in touch with their emotions, or they know themselves very well on that emotional level where I don't. And I think I'm just so tired of trying to learn it and at the same time trying to adapt to it. Yeah. I initially wanted this episode to be more fun and lighthearted, but one, I had no idea what I would talk about in terms of that, but two, the podcast has become a platform for me to express myself, and it's been really helpful. And I guess I just want to share this part with you guys, because when we do a podcast with all three of us, we all open up, but because we obviously want to hear each other, we don't want to just talk about ourselves all the time. So sometimes it doesn't get as deep in a podcast. This solo episode is very therapeutic for me. Whenever I talk to Sharon or Vicky, or whenever we do our episodes and you guys listen, yes, reply, is honestly like a therapy session for me. I'm like, why am I paying? And why did I pay so much money to talk to a professional therapist who, was like kind of helpful, but you need your time to kind of grind it out with a professional therapist when I could just talk to a camera and make me feel better. Obviously, I think ultimately it'll be good for me to talk to a therapist about a lot of things. My mouth's like I feel like I've been talking for a really long time and my mouth is actually getting a little bit dry. And this is what happens when you don't have co-hosts with you to kind of balance out the conversation, where you could just take a break, take a breather in between and drink some water. So I'm gonna do that right now. And how about you guys also take a large gulp of water, because I feel like not everyone hits their daily water goals. So yeah, let's take one. And if you're watching the video version, you might be wondering what I'm drinking. I'm literally have one of those big ass jugs, but this is corn tea, and this is my most favorite thing to drink actually. Corn tea and barley tea. I actually like drinking these more than soda or something. Like I could drink this every single day. Oh, literally, I started this podcast with saying I feel like a loser. So I started off this podcast feeling a little bit more down than I am right now. Right now, after talking this out, I feel better. But the reason why I said I feel like a loser, okay, backtrack a little bit. I never thought I would feel that way, at least so soon. I thought I would feel like a loser if like, for example, my content doesn't make it, like more like my professional style things. And we did an Enneagram test kind of like a few episodes ago. And I was like, oh, one of my fears is like, I secretly am scared that I'll become a loser. And the reason why I said I feel like a loser was because I'm like, I know how to order some things, or I know how to say certain things. For example, if I want to order ice Americano, I know how to order it. So I'm like, why can't I just do it? And that's the part that made me feel like a loser. Like, I know how to do it, but why can't I just do it? And why am I feeling so shy or feel so held back by my own thoughts? And even with the whole vlogging thing, I was honestly kind of shy vlogging in front of Sharon or Vicky, got over it. And then I was shy to vlog in public by myself, got over it. So I was able to quickly adapt. But why is it that something as simple as ordering, I'm not able to adapt. I'm not able to say what I do know, and thinking about so many people who just come here to study abroad, who don't know the language at all, and they decide to stay here for like a year or, 6 months, or people who move here to teach English for 5 years or something. So like, or even like idols, for example, like Mark and Jackson, they moved here when they're like, 16, and they didn't know any Korean at all. And, being at that age, you just left everything you're familiar with, all your friends, to come to an absolutely new place. And I'm sure during then, it wasn't even as international as it is now. Like, I think Seoul has gone a lot more international throughout these years. So I'm sure when they came in 2010, it wasn't even as like English wasn't as accepted or as common. So I'm just like, why am I always letting these small thoughts get to me? And I think that's the part that quote unquote made me feel like a loser. It's just taking that first step. Like after you take that first step, it'll be okay. When I was staying abroad in Beijing, even though I kind of knew the language, like, but my Mandarin was so not fluent. I had such a heavy accent. The way I spoke was so different from the locals there, but I just did it. And I was like, that just came from a place of confidence. Like, I'm just thinking back on myself, I'm just thinking back about myself. I'm like, wow, I was so much more confident. And quarantine just kind of destroyed me a little bit. I feel like when I didn't have as many inner thoughts, you are just a lot more free. And I really miss that feeling. I miss the old me. Like, don't get me wrong, I appreciate the new me and I appreciate that I have more knowledge about myself, but I need to learn how to use this knowledge to my advantage and not against myself, like the way it is right now. Yes, I love also talking out because I just make these kind of realizations, or I'm finally able to put my thoughts into words. So, life is a struggle, and I'm only 24, and life is gonna be even a harder struggle. Like, there's just gonna be so many things that I'm gonna be encountered with. Like, I've only graduated 2 years out of college, and I've regrown so much and encountered so much. Just can't imagine what the rest of my 20s have to offer up. The quote, "You are your own worst enemy. You are your worst enemy." Something along the lines that I didn't fully understand it until now, because your thoughts, man, like it could really just sabotage you. Like when I'm happy, my thoughts motivates me. My thoughts take me so many places. Like when I'm happy, I feel like I'm on top of the world. I feel like I could do anything. Like nothing could stop me, and I could just conquer whatever I want to do and I will get there. But once I'm like sulking in my thoughts, like marinating like a freaking piece of chicken overnight, all of that confidence just gone. And then I just like, there was a word I was trying to say, but I forgot because I just did this whole analogy about marinating. But basically I'm just trying to say, when I'm down, it just spirals and I just feel like I can't do anything and everything is wrong with me. Everything is wrong with what I'm trying to do. I have all my doubts. So I hope you guys enjoyed this first solo episode. I feel so much better after talking to you guys, and also feel less awkward about this episode than I did with the last one. I'm totally gonna scrap the last one now. This one is so much better. Like I said, hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys did, please give it a like or a comment or subscribe/follow our podcast if you haven't already. I would really appreciate it if you guys could show me a little bit more love towards this episode, so I don't feel like I did a shitty job with the first kind of solo episode that we're gonna be doing. And if you want to follow me for my content journey, but also for my travels in Korea, feel free to find me on Instagram, or you can check out my vlogs on YouTube at Jamila K, which is JAMILAKAY. Why does that feel like I just kind of did like an infomercial there? Okay, anyways, hope you guys have a great day or night, and again, just know that you're not alone in anything that you're feeling, and I'll see you in our next episode. Bye!